Right on. Well, Angela Lese of Fingernails Are Pretty live on the local buzz. Let's not get this confused, guys. When I say Foo Fighters tribute band, we're not talking a cover band. We're not talking a band down on Broadway begging for tips. We're talking the premier Nashville Foo Fighters tribute, in my opinion. How exactly did this band come to be? Because I think it's pretty cool. There's not enough Foo Fighters tribute bands that do it as well as you guys do. So how'd you guys come to do this?
Dude, well, I appreciate that. So it's funny because what I wanted to do this year was like 3 shows to tribute the 3 albums that were turning, I think it was like 25, 20, and 15 years, or 20
That's
and
crazy.
15 and 10, something like that. Yeah, which would have been too much. um, so that was the original goal this year. And then before that could come to fruition, Taylor Hawkins passed away, as you know, and he's my favorite drummer. So like that just kind of motivated me to do this. Like, well, we got to do something. We have to tribute him somehow. At least I wanted to, and I've always wanted to do a female or female identifying tribute to the Foo Fighters anyway. So that seemed like a good time to do it. Talk to Grimy about it, and he was cool to do one show, which was great. And then he hit me about a month before Tomato Fest and was like, "Hey, would you do one there?" I'm like, "Oh crap, sure, okay." Let me find a band and songs and everything.
Yeah.
So
No, and that was where I first saw you guys, because I remember I was walking by, I was going down to see Trail of the Dead at the East Room, which again was wild. They were playing the East Room, blows my mind. But
right.
on the way down, I stopped in to see you guys, and I was amazed, obviously, how great you guys sounded. But the who's who of Nashville you have in this band is pretty impressive. I saw like Vera Bloom up there. I saw Coco from Winona Fighter, Allie from Flummox, like so many great musicians. How do you go about getting all those people together?
I asked. So I think that's kind of the cool thing about Fingernails Are Pretty, is that it gives me a chance to kind of shed light on some of my favorite musicians in town. And that usually kind of involves like indie rock or alt rockers. So that is basically asking friends and then acquaintances and like people I'm fans of too. So yeah, the last show we had Ariel from Icon for Hire singing, and Rachel Branson is the Flare Light. She's the main guitarist, and it's just it was cool that they all said yes, especially like Allie. She's not really, it's not kind of her cup of tea of music, but that
Yeah.
like she and I jam really well together. So I think that's also what's cool, is the band is so tight and we all love each other so much that it just shines on stage. And then when you got a bunch of friends like fronting the band, it just comes together, and it gelled really fast. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It really does. And it's crazy. You were talking about Taylor Hawkins passing away. If you had told me at the very beginning of 2022, take one guess at what celebrity is going to pass away this year, I never, like, Taylor Hawkins would have been miles and miles out of my mind. It was definitely by far, I'd say, arguably the most mind blowing celebrity shocking death of our lifetime. Maybe our Elvis Presley, if you will, or like our Freddie Mercury in a way, because he had the big tribute concert and everything. But it is wild to think. I never would have suspected him. It's unreal. It still feels weird. It feels like it's still kind of a joke. It doesn't feel real.
Right. Yeah. And it does seem maybe a little too soon to be doing, some kind of tribute for him, because it's not to capitalize on anything. It really is just coming from the heart. I mean, as a drummer, how inspirational a musician can be to other musicians, and he is the reason I'm drumming. I saw him, my first concert ever was Alanis Morissette in like 96, and I saw Taylor, like I thought I'd be staring at her the whole time, and I ended up watching him. So like he is the reason I drum today. So for me to do it, it just feels like full circle, but it's also a little, it just sucks that we have to pay a tribute, because it just is so shocking still. It just, I would take everything to make sure that he was still alive if we could.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's cool you reference the Alanis Morissette tour, because I remember that tour as well. And it's funny because people might be too young to remember Alanis Morissette was like the biggest pop star at that time. And I had the same experience. And like, you're literally just watching him. It's like, who's the blonde guy with the crazy hair? And talk about stealing the show when you're playing behind the biggest pop star on the planet at that point,
Yeah, for sure. And like, I think that's where like I get my inspiration from too. I'm like, he definitely knows how to support a band. Obviously, he was in the biggest band in the world, but he can do it when also have a spotlight on him because like
Yeah.
he made every band that he's ever been in better, and that's the way it should be. Like dude was a rock star on his own anyhow. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of celebrities, I never thought this year we'd lose. A few months ago, I wanted to go see Vanilla Ice, Tone Loc, and Coolio were doing a show together. And I literally said the words, I want to go because Tone Loc's been in bad health. He's collapsing on stage. Tone Loc's probably not going to be with us much longer, which is going to be devastating. Never dreamed Coolio would go. So it's like, I think the moral of the story is always go to the concert because you never know who you're going to lose.
Yeah, always go to the shows and maybe don't say anything before you go to the show. Just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
don't even put that out there.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, I'm going to go and nothing's going to go wrong. It's going to be an okay time.
That's right. Yeah. Seriously.
It's so you guys got the show coming up. Fingernails Are Pretty, December 4th at the Basement East. I saw that Take the Power Back is opening up. Is that the Rage Against the Machine tribute band?
Yes, sir, it is.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Before I moved to town, my old band, actually, I was in with Erica Sellers. We were in a band called Catfight out of Louisville, and we came down here to play something called Bitch Fest. And hopefully we can say that on here.
Of
And
course you can.
Take the Power Back was headlining that at the East Room. So that was one of the first shows we ever saw in Nashville together, and they blew my freaking mind. So it's pretty cool. Like I've played a couple shows with them since, but it's cool to have them on the show, and especially for like a cause that we kind of both believe in. So it's really cool that they're doing it, and they're just gonna kick the door open, man. I just can't wait for if people haven't Take the Power Back. I'm super excited for them to see this band. They're so good.
Yeah. No, same. I've only seen them on Instagram, so I'm pumped to see them live as well.
Yeah, they're
so
great.
How exactly, when you're picking, the Foo Fighters have such a catalog. Like, how do you go about, because obviously you guys can't play all night long. So how do you go about picking the songs? I know you got to play like the favorites, but do you guys kind of go down the list of like, this is a song that I really want to play? You guys kind of pick your own?
It honestly depends on the singer since they're rotating all night. I had a couple people approach me asking, can I be on the show? Can I do these two songs? And I'm like, sure. And then, something happens, that singer drops off. I'm like, well, the band already learned that song, so we got to find a singer to sing that song. So it's a lot of shuffling. We definitely have the hits, and then we have a couple sleeper songs that people probably wouldn't see coming, especially one. If you haven't seen Studio 666, maybe go see that movie before the show. so you understand the reference of one of the songs. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, a lot of it depends on what the singers want to do, because just being a huge Foo Fighters fan, I know a lot of them, which is kind of like I come into it with a little bit of an unfair perspective, I guess. So I kind of left it up to the singers after we picked the hits and stuff, and then we've got a couple maybe not huge hits of B-sides, but B-sides from an album I think is so underrated. I don't even know if it's underrated, but In Your Honor is like my favorite Foo Fighters album. There's
a great album.
So many bangers on that, and we're playing like I think 6 songs from that album, and there's really like 2 big hits from that. So I'm excited to a couple of the B-sides of that one.
That's awesome. You know what I always find when it comes to Foo Fighters covers, bands always want to do Everlong, and a lot of drummers cannot play that song. For instance, I remember years ago, I was in another band and this band was opening up for us at the Nick in Birmingham. I'm sure you've played there. And they were a great band. They were really good. But their drummer was kind of weak. And so they played their last song, or so they claimed. And then they started the guitar part. And I was like, there's no way that's Everlong. And they went into Everlong. And Everlong walked onto that stage and beat that drummer up in front of all of us. It was very embarrassing for him. It's one of those songs you have to be able to play, but I find that a lot of drummers always just go to that one. Like, I'll play Everlong. And it's like, I don't know, man, you got to really be able to play that song.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because it kills me. One, like, as a drummer, I take it personally. If a drummer steps up and they're like, yeah, I'll get that one. Like, it's famous. Everyone knows it. It should be simple. And they try and learn it the day before. I'm like, you are really going to mess this up. It's not going to be good. And it's so infuriating. I'm like, if you're going to be in a tribute band of one of the greatest bands that has ever been around, you better learn your stuff. And I think I really pride this band on doing that. You know, it's cool to like be able to play like every single thing. Like, you know, other drummers in the room are going to be like, I wonder if she's going to hit that China cymbal there at that part. Yes, she is, you know, like,
Yeah.
I think that stuff is cool. So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
it can be frustrating when a drummer gets up there and they can't do it, you know. I
And they
mean,
just slub their way through it. And it's funny too. I saw an interview right whenever Taylor passed away. I was going down the rabbit hole of watching Foo Fighters interviews, like I'm sure everyone else was. And I saw an interview where he was talking to like some younger kid. It was like a younger kid reacts to Foo Fighters, and it was Everlong. And he brought up a really good point that I had forgotten, that Everlong was not a big hit for the Foo Fighters when it came out. When it first came out, it was like Monkey Wrench was massive. Everlong came out, it was like, and then My Hero was huge. And it was like time kind of made Everlong become, in a lot of ways, their greatest, most popular song. But what's interesting about that is I feel like, you know, you and I, Angela, being in many of bands, we may have already written our greatest song and not even known it yet. Give it 20 years and we'll know what our greatest song is.
oh God, it almost gives me a heart attack because that totally depends on the band. Okay. Like it could either be very cool or very interesting down the
It's like,
road.
that's the song people remember me for, not that one.
Yeah, I'm sure you get that a lot. I get it a lot still, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to think that I haven't, you know, that's what makes Nashville so great. You know, you kind of like do this dating game of bands until you really find the niche, you know, the thing that you want to do, and you stop worrying about what other people think. And like, well, you stop worrying about the fall from graces here and there, and you just get the people around you that you want to play with, and you start making the music that you want to do and that you love. And that's the stuff that works, you know. And so I would like to think I haven't been a part of the biggest song yet, hopefully, but
Yeah.
you never
No,
know.
I say it's still coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, since you're here, we got to play the 5 random question game. I know you're no stranger to that game, but if you're down to play, we shall play.
Yeah, let's go.
5 random questions, Angela Lese on the local buzz. So, since it is officially the holiday season, what is one Christmas song you absolutely despise?
uh Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. Is that Paul
That's
McCartney?
that's
Oh,
the one. Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day. It's not a good song. People think it's cool because it's Paul McCartney, but yeah, it's not a good song. It's terrible.
it's the worst. It's the worst.
Question number 2 with Angela Lese on the local buzz. In your opinion, what is the most underrated Foo Fighters song, or at least one of them?
Oh man. Okay. I have two answers. I think The Times Like These acoustic is their best song of all time. I think that version is just it's gut wrenching. I think that's their greatest song. Um, man, gosh, I that's tough, man. Oh man, you put me on the spot.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dang. New Way Home's good. That's the oh man, I don't know. It might have to be like Run might be one. I mean,
Yeah,
after
okay.
listening to that one a lot recently,
Yeah.
foreshadowing. That song freaking rips. Holy
Oh, yeah, it
crap.
really does.
That one and Stacked Actors, I think those are maybe two songs that are like, God, I don't know, they're really, really freaking good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a fan of the In Your Honor album myself. So like, you know, No Way Back and DOA, I think are great, great, great
Yeah,
songs. I don't,
absolutely.
they have
You know,
so many, man.
so many. You know, a song I think of theirs is really underrated is Long Road to Ruin. I think it's
It's
such a great
so
song.
great.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like you don't really hear about it. Every once in a while it pops up. I'm like, man, people know this. This should be one that everyone knows. I mean, I know it had its moment that's at the time with the funny video and everything, but yeah, it's such a great song.
Yeah, that one and I think Let It Die was I think that one on off Echo Science Patience and Grace is just that's a sleeper hit too, man. That's so
Yeah,
good.
Absolutely. Question number 3 with Angelise of Fingernails Are Pretty on the local buzz. So Exit In sadly closed its doors, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently, who knows yet. But I wanted to ask you, they have the famous bar with all the names, like the plaques behind it. I've got my eye on that PM Dawn plaque. I would love to take that. So I wanted to ask
Yes.
you, isn't that great? It's like, this
Yeah.
is right there. I want it so bad. But I wanted to ask you if you could take one nameplate off the Exit In Wall of Fame, which one would it be?
Oh, I might fight you for that one because I think that one's so great. Like seeing that one every time I've been there.
Yeah.
Maybe Liz Fair. Probably take hers or garbage. Probably
There's some
one
good
of
ones. Yeah.
maybe one of those two.
I love it. I saw Nick Slack got super drag. That seems fitting, but I was still kind of
But
jealous. I was like, Question number 4, the Angela
yeah,
Lese on the local buzz. I don't know if you follow the band, the 1975. I really don't much, but I saw that apparently last night on stage, the lead singer, Matt Healy, walked into the audience, found a random girl and just started kissing her. Apparently they realized later that she was down with it or whatever. But I wanted to ask you, you're at a show and the lead singer in the 1975 starts heading towards you just to lay one on you. What do you do? What's
no.
your reaction?
Oh no. Maybe stop and be like, dude, wrong tree. You're barking up the wrong tree, my friend. Or just like, like lean to the side and give him a hug,
Yeah.
probably.
That'd be hilarious. Like totally friend zone him in front of everyone to get you like right
Yeah.
here.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah,
I love
totally.
it. Question number 5, the final question on the local buzz with Angela Lese of Fingernails Are Pretty. So let's say you guys are playing a show at the show at the Base Beneath on December 4th. Dave Grohl himself walks in. What is the one song you'd like him to hear y'all play?
A Dream Widow song from
Nice.
Studio 666. We're gonna pull out one of those. I want him to hear that.
That's some rad stuff. I cannot wait to hear that live. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be sick. And if he ever showed up, I wish he could hear that.
I love that. Right on. Well done. You passed. You passed the 5 random question. I should call it the 5 random test because it really is more of a test. It's more stressful than a game, some would
Yeah,
say.
it is. I'm sweating a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. We'll go see Fingernails Are Pretty December 4th at the Basement East. We'll take the power back. It's $20 to get in. The show's at 7:30, and some of the proceeds are going to a good cause. I should point out. What exactly is that? I saw it on the poster.
Yeah, I picked Abortion Care Tennessee because I don't know if all of you know, but abortion access is not available in Tennessee. So that kind of protects the young girls if something bad happens to them. That organization can give them funds to get to a state and take care of something if they need to, because no 12-year-old should be a parent. And I think that's why I believe in that cause so much. So if you're upset, come at me, don't come at anyone else. That was my choice, but it's just such a great cause to take care of, the young females. And that's kind of what the show is about too, like kind of showcasing them and maybe taking care of the next generation of feminine folks. So it's kind of near and dear to my heart anyway. So I'm pretty stoked about them being there.
Well, I love it. Well, December 4th, you can rock for a good cause and hear some great Foo Fighters and some great Rage Against the Machine tributes. I love it. Well, Angela, open door policy for bands I like on the show. You know the drill. Anytime you want to come by the show, just knock on my Zoom cam and I'll turn it on and there I'll be.
Thank you, Andy, for everything. Always appreciate you.
Oh,